One day I'll do it. Thank you. I was saying in the middle of a school day. No way you're watching my stream on my phone.
No.
Next to me.
No.
Chiara, thanks for the 21 months. Martin's Lats for the 21. Appreciate you. If Ashley goes home this week, we riot. It seems incredibly unlikely, right? I mean, look, it's past couple weeks, it seemed unlikely that some people would go home, but it seems quite unlikely. But yeah, no, there's no school today. It was Labor Day. Keep up. Hello, everyone. Also, you guys are not going to like it today. I'm the #1 Mickey defender right now in this one specific niche circumstance. Her lying that T. Core crocheted her hat is exactly what I want out of Big Brother house guests. That's just funny. It's Big Brother. You're allowed to lie. Doesn't always have to be game related. I lied about everything. What are the votes looking like for Ashley versus Vince? Ava's the swing in almost every scenario. Because Rachel, Will, and Mickey, if they come off the block, would vote to keep Ashley. Lauren, would vote to keep Vince, as would Kelly, as would whoever's left. What are you doing?
Babe, it's not a big deal. It's okay. I'm about to get there. You just have to read.
I don't understand how it's connected, how it's not connected, but it is changing colors drastically.
It is connected. It's calibrating.
Oh, the calibrating is like the rainbow flashing?
Yes.
That's funny.
There we go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let me know what we think of the tacos. You and Mickey lying just to lie? No. My lie had a lot of reasons for it, and that was legitimately the correct move. I don't care what people say. We have a lot to talk about today. Not a super long stream, but we have to talk about this week. Keanu's HOH, Vince's gameplay in general, Joseph being the best pre-juror of all time. There's a lot of conversation points that I want to talk about. And here's the thing about the Joseph thing, because I feel like there's been a negative skew towards Joseph on this stream. For some reasons, for other... The point is, I actually don't think it's the craziest pick. I think calling him the best pre-juror of all time is ridiculous. But I think his game is underrated, if anything. Ethanimal, let's talk about this. I actually think, his game was... I was higher on his game as it was happening than everyone else. Who said that? No one. No one said that. And if someone did say that, I wouldn't DM them anything hateful. Mods, hide him. Hide him somewhere. So let's talk about Joseph first, because the argument for Joseph is strategically, he is kinda incredibly competent. He's a very solid strategic player. He understands where to go. He never made mind-boggling decisions. Ethanimal, my disagreement is the day-to-day social play was just terrible. Genuinely terrible. And I think that is a little bit lost to time. But, there's no obvious answer in my head who's the best pre-juror of all time. I think my main disagreement is, I just think Brooklyn is a lot better than Joseph. And that's that, I guess. Give me an answer that's super obvious. They're a great pre-jury player. People say Clay, who is also on the list. It's if you're super good socially and great physically and all these things, but also ask to be evicted and then get evicted, you're not on my list. I don't care if you have the tools if you want to use those tools to evict yourself from the house. So right now, my #1 choice is Brooklyn. I just don't have someone who's better than that. Also, I think Cedric versus Joseph, I would lean Joseph over Cedric just because, again, Cedric has all the tools, but, it was totally Cedric's fault why he got evicted. But I really do think Brooklyn feels like a decent answer to me. Rachel is a fine answer. The other thing about Joseph that I think is tough is, the win equity is kind of tough anywhere. Leah, maybe. Angela, maybe. How does he get to the end with these people? It seems impossible. So, I'm much more high on pre-jurors who's if they stayed this week, they could have won. It feels like Joseph was destined to, mid-jury if he made it through that week, right? Cedric would never do that again on a return, but Joseph would still be Joseph. Yeah, but you can't, give Cedric points for a game that doesn't exist. Oh, on a return, Cedric would be better than Joseph. It's maybe. I think he has a better, toolkit, but the games we saw, Joseph was significantly better. For me. you know. But I don't know if you guys expect me to come in and be like, Joseph sucks. I'm like, I think my game is, like, basically Joseph's game if I was just a little bit better socially. But I could have gotten 10th place super easily. Maybe that would have been the play. I feel like I rank pretty high on this list. If I go at 10th, Cam backdoor. After he comes back as a zombie, like, I like those odds. And, like, say it again?
What about Mimi?
I think Joseph's a lot better than Mimi. Because, again, like, Joseph was actively playing. It just didn't feel that way because he wasn't, like, winning HOHs and flipping votes and things like that. But, like, Joseph and Mimi, I don't think is a fair comparison. They both ended up kind of being inconsequential just because of how things shook out. But, like, Joseph was trying to maneuver to the end. Mimi was just kind of self-preservation at all times, you know? Izzy was pretty close. Izzy's just such a weird person to rank. Like, I don't... If you want to put her, like, top 3 or not even close to the list, I understand both. Because she's just... The parts that make her an excellent player are the parts that make her a terrible player. Like... Which is why she's probably one of the best casting choices of all time. But... I don't know. When you talk to Izzy about the game, she really gets it. Like, she really loves getting in the weeds and, like, weighing pros and cons. And there's very few people I'd want to play Big Brother with more than Izzy. She's just fun. And it's also hard to assess her game because Suri, like, Izzy's the exact kind of player where it's like, what the fuck would she do on a separate season? I have no idea.
We're going to see. Won the race.
Question, what is your favorite Dexter episode so far? No spoilers. We just watched the season 4 finale, and America was shook. But no spoilers.
I couldn't start the next season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ETH Animal video on the best pre-jurors. I believe the list was like, I saw Brooklyn on there, I saw Joseph on there, I saw Clay, Rachel Swindler, and there was another one. I will say, ETH Animal, you got the people talking. America texted me about your video at the gym. The guerrilla marketing goes crazy. Season 4 finale is also where I left off with Dexter. Ethan, keep watching. 5 and 6 are fine seasons. 7's fire. 8's terrible. But it's still worth watching, for sure. Oh, interesting, Edward. Yeah, I'll watch it. Do you agree with me that Ava should jump over to the Keanu, Kelly, and Lauren side because she can beat them even though I don't want her to? I think Ava can do anything she wants as long as she starts actively playing. If she wants to go in the Kelly direction and then ride it out with, like, Lauren, I kind of love that idea. That makes sense to me. But also, she's putting herself with much stronger competitors. Whereas with Will, Ashley, and them, she's still one of the weaker competitors, but she could maybe win a thing or two. 7 is terrible. Bad take. 7's one of my favorite seasons. But I think Ava's pretty cooked. Like, win equity wise, I think the only person below her, I think, is Kelly and Mickey. So those two. And then you could argue Keanu, but I don't think so. I think Keanu has more of a shot of winning than Ava. But yeah, again, this is like the same thing as Mimi, same thing as T-Core. Like, we have enough data at this point. Like, we know how Ava plays. And, like, it could work out, you know? There's always ways for players like this to get towards the end. And then competitions are competitions, especially if they're equitable. But, like, we can't act like a switch will be flipped. That's not going to happen. Ava's involved more than Mimi. Here's the thing. Like, I feel like I talk down Mimi's game a lot, but Mimi is just incredibly smart. And I just have a lot more faith in Mimi as a competitor and a player than Ava. Ava's smart too, but I think Mimi is a lot more game-oriented, even if that didn't manifest in active play. They're both incredibly passive. But I just think Mimi's quite a bit above Ava in that department. I feel like Mimi does better in another season. I think she does the same, but maybe it works out better. Ava, I think, would do the same. I don't think Ava is the type to, like, learn from her mistakes in a social strategic context. It doesn't exactly seem apt to me. Sadly, there's a petition started by the cast to bring it back, so go sign it. Fun fact, I think Zach is kind of friends with young Masuka from Dexter Original Sin, so
What?
Take that for what it is. The guy who plays young Masuka. Yeah. Ava is furniture with gameplay, but people like her because she's funny. That's fine. Like, not everyone has to be a great player. Like, if Ava's just a fun character who's amicable and talks shit and is funny sometimes, it's, I don't think she's a miss in casting by any means. Yeah, but Survivor Desi, what I'm saying is, like, if Mimi was forced into a position where she had to make a decision, it'd be the same as Ava. Ava's not, like, wedging herself in the middle of two groups. People want her to be in the middle, but she's just like, I don't know. It's, okay. She volunteered for the block, too. Mimi never did that. I think that's kind of the biggest telltale sign of, like, okay, there's a difference between these players. Which is why I have a lot of respect for Vince, because Vince is like, every complaint I had about BB26, Vince is pushing back against. He's trying so hard. He doesn't give a shit about anyone. Oh, Vince is in love with Morgan. Vince is throwing Morgan to the wolves. Like, that's just what he does, And I like it. I think it's a fun thing to watch. I'm done comparing Vince to other players. There's no other player like Vince. He's one of one, for better or worse. And does that make him a great player? No. I think if he wins at this point, he'd be like the 15th to 18th best winner. The game is just too rocky and all over the place, and the cast is too weak, but I do find him a very fun player to watch.
Did you see Kat's chat BCC message?
Basically saying, put respect on Vince's name.
Yeah.
I just think the whole point is, like, everything that BB25 people thought I was, everything Felicia thought I was, think Quinn was, that's what Vince is. Like, Vince is the slimy weasel who will throw anyone under the bus and doesn't have any moral reservations about the game. No, this is Kat done. And yeah, it's exhausting listening to him do his same pathos-filled pitch every single time. But I've never seen anything like it. And it's not even working at this point. Like, this week, I think he goes home. I don't know. Is anyone else getting the feeling that Mickey's a first juror? That just feels right to me. Mickey, maybe Keanu. But I think it's Mickey. And if Mickey's still here, Vince isn't. Now, here's the question. Mickey versus Vince on the block. Vince should be cooked, right? Because they still have, like, the judges are keeping Mickey. See, I know the answer is no, right? Because the judges theoretically are still kind of protecting Vince. I think that fades as the week goes on. If Morgan finds out about Vince and Keanu's plan, I don't think Morgan's going to be the one, like, gunning for Vince necessarily, but maybe she'll, like, stop defending him with her whole, life. Ava keeps Vince as of now. Yeah. And now Ava and Lauren are doing poses to the camera. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't bode well. Kelly, Lauren, Morgan, and Ava. I just think Morgan and especially Ava are kind of movable. Because Ava doesn't like Vince. It would just be like to work with Lauren. I don't know. But it is funny. Ava's the swing vote, and people are going to be campaigning to her all week, and Ava doesn't want to be campaigned to. It's going to be very goofy to watch. Edward, don't be toxic. That's not what this is for. Also, chat PCC, I've been very liberal banning people. And, like, it could be something simple. If you call someone a bitch, you're gone. It's just not, this is not the platform for that. And, like, every bit of helplessness I feel on, like, Twitter or other social media platforms where it's like, obviously I'm not in charge. Neither am I on chat PCC, but I am a moderator. And I think a lot of people on a lot of the alumni kind of feel the same way, where it's like, I don't need a great reason to ban somebody. It's just if I think you're making the place a more hostile, toxic environment, I'm going to be very comfortable banning people. Are people ever going to go against Will, or is he just going to go to the end? It's a perception thing. I think the reason he's going to be able to go to the end is because people don't view him as a big enough threat. The thing is, there are a lot of people who I think are viewed that way. So if Will ends up next to one of them, he could win. But yeah, I do think Will's looking better every week. The thing that Will just needs is, like, he needs Ashley to be disrespected by the jury. He needs Ava to do something, go on a run. Because if he's there against Rachel, I'm of the mind now that Rachel just wins in the jury against almost anybody. I think Rachel, you just can't bring her to the end. That's no shot. I think against Morgan, I think Will probably loses, but who fucking knows? Ashley is the one where, like, if Ashley beats Will, Will's in trouble. Right now, my impression would be, that Will would beat Ashley, but, like, again, we kind of thought the same thing about Matt beating Jag. You kind of think the same thing about Cam Sullivan-Brown. He has great relationships with everybody, I'm sure. People don't like Chelsea. People don't like MJ. They love Cam. Yeah, but if you're viewed a certain way throughout the entire game, that's not going to flip when you're in the final two chairs. I think sometimes when you're like, someone's never being targeted, they must be awesome at the game. That is a part of it. The other part of it is, like, people don't view them as worth targeting. Jap BCC has 17K. It's past the point of not being toxic. Yeah, but, there's no reason to give up. You just keep doing what you have to do.
I'm going to say, unlike Twitter, we have the power.
Yeah.
To like, fully ban people.
What's up, Ander? I don't know what a month anniversary means, but Twitch told me to post this message. Well, I'm glad you're listening to orders. It's very valuable. Do you think Will has to win a comp or two to really have a chance? I think it would help a lot. Not necessarily, but probably. I think he needs, like, a Final 4 veto, a Final 3 HOA, something like that. And look, Will's no slouch in competitions. Like, he's not... Okay, he's kind of a slouch in competitions, but there's other slouches near him. He could win a part 2 of an HOH against Ava, against Ashley, even against Rachel. I would favor Rachel. But it's not like Will is so much worse than these people physically. So, like, if he gets himself in a part 3, he could win part 3. Like, this is just a weak cast competition-wise, where, like, Keanu is head and shoulders above everyone else, and then it's, like, kind of an open field. Lauren's pretty good. Vince is pretty good. Rachel has a history, but, hasn't really manifested in this season a ton. Kelly, Keanu, and Lauren can legit run the table. Depending on what the comps are, yeah. Next week, if it's a Kelly or Lauren HOH, I think that's where the season might go. The thing is, though, you got to get rid of Keanu. Like, I don't know how long these people are going to try to keep him around, even as allies. You let him around final 7-6, he probably just wins his way to the end. Maybe you get one shot if you're lucky. But I've seen that story before. I've been in that story. Where am I from? From South Florida. Long as Vince is on their side and in the house, I think they're going to crumble. Vince is just the poison pill. Lauren will win endurance, Keanu physical, and Kelly mental. I think Big Brother mental comps are very easy. To the point where, like, being really smart is not particularly helpful. Like, there is something to be said about, like, some people do better in, like, quizzes and, like, pattern recognition, stuff like that. But I think quizzes are more crapshooty than people like to admit. With a few exceptions. Like, the studying comps are pretty fair, I think.
No, they are crapshooty. When they show you 15 images and you're supposed to, like, answer a question about them, you're literally just guessing.
Well, your double eviction HOH seemed like a total crapshoot.
Yeah.
The movie one.
I mean,
It was just like, it's like so fast. I think those types of ones where they just show you a video and you answer questions, those can go anyway. I just think the ones where you study for a while, it's like, it's hard to get all that information in the first 5 seconds of looking at something, but if you have enough allies and good socially, you should be able to gather all the information like I was, and then still get it wrong because you suck. Can anyone on Rachel's side beat Keanu in a comp now? Yeah, because the comps have been, like, borderline crapshoots, most of them, which I love. But yeah, imagine Keanu has to save himself and he gets that veto with the glasses of wine. Like, that sucks. Bowie said she won because of America helping her study. Hell yeah. And she only slightly considered putting me up. My dog, Bowie Jane. What would it look like if Big Brother did the genius comps like they did main matches?
oh my god.
Oh man, Keanu would be running things. Hey, you guys, if you know, you know. Keanu would be Kyung-hoon. America hasn't met him yet, but... Nah, I'm good, Joseph. Sounded like the HOH doorbell. That was America ringing a buzzer. By accident. But anyways, so Keanu's HOH. Did he do a good job? My answer, no. Look, I really think Keanu had the correct target in Morgan. I think Morgan was a good target. Morgan wins the veto. That's unlucky. I think putting up Vince is not even a bad call because I think Vince does save Morgan. So like I don't hate it. Now, what about this replacement nom? Is Ashley the right one? Don't hate it. I don't know. I don't think Keanu did a terrible... I mean, look. Keanu did a terrible job because him existing is pretty terrible. Just like socially, he's so bad that his position just gets worse over time. Just always. But I don't think his like nominations were crazy. I think he did a fine job. I think trying to work with Rachel and Ashley was a good call. And then he just got snowed by Morgan, basically. Which is funny, but, you know. Morgan was going against either Mickey or Vince based on loose vote ideas. Based on very loose vote ideas. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think it would have landed on Morgan. He should never put up Vince. Yeah, look, it's like weird. Morgan's the right target, and if you're only trying to get your target out, it does make sense to put up Vince. But like, big picture, how many allies does Keanu have? Vince is probably one of them. But Vince keeps evicting Keanu's allies. Like, I think if I'm Keanu, I would feel like an idiot protecting Vince. Which he's doing anyways, so. But if Vince goes this week, like, Keanu's cooked. Like, what is he doing? Like, what would Keanu's best play be? Would it just be something like Ava, Will, Ashley? Backdoor Morgan, probably? That's probably the right move. And just say, look, Rachel, like, you have too many numbers. If we're trying to whittle this down to us two, we have to kind of go back and forth. Maybe that's just the play. Will, Ashley, Ava, backdoor Morgan. I don't hate that. Target Vince. That's the other thing. Like, there is a real argument for Keanu of just get out the next best competitor and try to run the table. That might be Keanu's best shot of winning, straight up. I just think he has a little bit more wiggle room than, like, needing to win every comp from now on. He seemed genuine with the star, but Rachel kept antagonizing him and threatening over Ashley. Made no sense. Brendan put something in chat BCC that I did disagree with, where it's like, Rachel is the best player of the season. She's playing the best. Positionally, I think she's pretty close to in the best position, but like no one's in a great position this season. But this is not like Rachel's master plan. Like, there's been so many mistakes along the way that she's kind of gotten away with. The Riley move, I think it was the wrong move. It worked out and it was huge for her game and it put her in this position, but like, I can't. You criticize the move and then you kind of like credit the gameplay she did to make the move work, I guess. But that gameplay was so tenuous and on a knife's edge, where it's like, I just think it was the wrong play. But obviously it worked out, and it didn't just work out because of happenstance. It worked out because Rachel did it. You know, so like, you give her credit. It's just, don't consider Rachel to be like a different player than she is. Like, she's very impulsive. She goes after her target. She's very straightforward. And she's going to keep being that. So, like, she's not going to immediately start playing super tactfully and, like, placate Keanu. And it's Rachel. Was the Riley move more TV-focused than gameplay? No. I think Rachel wanted to do it. Rachel wanted Riley gone, so she put him on the block. I don't think it was that deep. But it's annoying. I feel like I'm always put in the position where I gotta like talk down Rachel's game. Like, she's doing great. She's helped by a house that is so bad. I always feel like that's a bit of a lazy analysis. You know, like, yeah, the house is bad, but the house is always bad. This one seems like the worst one we've ever seen. But also that brings about its own challenges of like, how the fuck do you work with Keanu? How do you work with Kelly? She had a lot of people in that house who just hated her for literally no reason. Mickey just hated her. No reason. Jimmy was targeting her. She worked that to her advantage. Keanu hates women. That's a problem. That makes it tougher. Kelly hates her for literally no reason. So, big picture, it's like, yeah, it helps her that this cast is bad, but it hurts her that this cast is targeting her for no reason. You know, it's all give and take. Morgan's probably a top 3 or 4 player, and she almost didn't use the veto on herself. Yeah. Yeah, look, I'm not trying to make the case that this cast is good. I'm just saying, like, playing with a terrible cast does not mean an automatic win for a good player. I actually think, like, a really good player can more reliably make it to the end on a solid cast. Derek Levasseur, I think, has a much tougher time with this cast than he does BB16. Does that make sense? And I think someone like Rachel, I don't know. I think she might benefit from this kind of cast if they just weren't so anti-her, at least a couple of them. Ashley and Rachel had a fight with Keanu at the veto meeting, and it involved Ava somehow. Well, now Ava is just talking to Lawrence. That doesn't seem great. Okay, can I have another bit of a hot take? Does Andy destroy this cast for having a tough time? I think Andy does pretty well on most casts. I think he's very flexible. My hot take. So everyone's clowning on like Morgan and Kelly and all these people, Mickey, for not understanding how the live feeds work, right? How do you not know how the live feeds work? You're going on a show. Absolutely. That's ridiculous. You're going on this show. It's a life-changing thing. You should do some research and understand what you're walking into. I feel like production needs to do a significantly better job of explaining this to the cast. I could solve this if you give me a 20-minute orientation. You know what I mean? Like, if you just let me talk to them for 20 minutes and really lay out what live feeds are and what that means for their life after the house and how people consume the live feeds and how conversation around the live feeds work, we would avoid so much bullshit. And I know some people are like, well, we want the bullshit. We want authentic. We don't want people playing up to the cameras. Guys, it's an 80-day game, 90-day game. You run out of gas. Eventually you are who you are, and we'll see who you are. But I think there is some burden that should be put on production to really lay it out to these people. Because if you don't come from the community, you're not a super fan, you're not me, America, Quinn, something like that, it's impossible to grasp just how this works. It's really weird, and there's nothing like it. So yes, it is these people's fault 100% for like not doing an ounce of due diligence, but I think production, like, they should just have this talk, and they never had that talk with me. Obviously it was implied. I knew how it worked, but like, there's no orientation being like, okay guys, here's what you're walking into. Yeah, no, they think it's like an email or like Facebook. Like, you check Facebook every couple hours, see what's going on, and then you go back to your work. Not people watching 24/7 in the middle of Labor Day, 4 p.m., turning on the feeds and watching. People don't think that's how it works, and I get it because it's weird. I think all of us have to step back sometimes and be like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why are we watching the feeds? But then it's, it's a show. Cameraman in the mirrors 24/7, like, what is hard to understand? Well, a lot of times you think you're being recorded for the episodes. Like, they're getting all this footage and they're going to maybe use it for something. Again, it's hard speaking from the perspective of, like, I know how the live feeds work. I've always known how they work. But I think they should have someone talk these house guests through it before they go in. If you're going to cast people who have no idea what the show is, they have no idea about the show, they've never seen a season, I think there should be a little bit of accountability on production. Granted, if Kelly knew live feeds were on 24/7, I don't think her behavior changes at all. An ounce. This is who she is, right? Same with Mickey, same with Morgan, same with everyone. So, like, I don't think it's the biggest deal, but I think people clowning on people for not understanding, I think production should fix that somewhat. Or they should cast more super fans and less recruits. Ooh, classic debate incoming. I think they should cast more fans, but, I think the anti-recruit stuff is, like, a little bit overplayed. A lot of recruits are good. It's just, I wish there was a way to make recruits do a little bit of homework. Now, can we get a little bit positive? This season's pretty awesome. Like, what's the criticism towards this season? The cast sucks gameplay-wise? Is that the biggest complaint? Shit, compared to other seasons, I feel like that's a pretty minor one. A lot of your favorite players are probably recruits. Not me, but I also gravitate towards a certain archetype. But yeah, a lot of them are great. But I just think PB27 has been such a hit. Every week has been something. Last week was a kind of dry week, but it was a very interesting week as it was going on. It ended up being dry by Thursday, but like... I'm surprised Survivor has gone to the Superfan and BB cast more recruits. I'm actually not surprised. I feel like Survivor has always been going for that vibe a little bit more, whereas Big Brother is like the hot model summer show, you know? Realistically, how does Rachel get to the final two without Keanu? The good thing is her side is incredibly bad at competitions. Ava, Will, Ashley, Mickey if she's there. Morgan seems okay, but she doesn't seem like a comp beast by any means. Basically, Rachel gets to the final 5 or 4 and then wins out, which isn't that hard from the final 4 or 5. But I don't think people are going to take her to the end. You got to watch Survivor Australia vs. the World. I'm getting the updates from my mom. So, I know where the game stands now at least. But I don't think I'm going to watch it. Do we think it ends for sure this week? Yes. If it doesn't, that's insane. That I'd riot. Which is code for I would do nothing, but that would be crazy. Rachel's 100% getting voted out at 3 or 4 if she doesn't win a comp. Maybe, but like she could win that comp very easily. Final 4 is a quiz and then some mental veto. Like, she's a great shot there. Final 3, whoever she's up against, it's not going to be Vince. Keanu won't be there, probably. Like, I think she'll just have a chance, you know? Survivor vs. the World is the best series I've seen ever. I know people love it. It's hard for me to take it seriously just because it's 12 days long, but I have heard really good things. Keanu panicking and regretting his decisions. He has not had a good HOH. I think it's hard to imagine a great HOH. I just think he should have targeted Rachel's side. Put up 3 of them except Rachel. I think that's the play. I think that's what Vince should have done. You know, I think that's always been the play for these kinds of people, and they just don't do them. And it's this Judges Alliance. Credit to Will and Ashley for making it. It reined Vince in. Keanu with frenemies has been reined in his own way. Like, this, in a weird way, Rachel's side basically being Rachel, Ashley, Will, maybe throwing Morgan there on a week-to-week basis. They're very effective at getting what they want. Even Ashley being put on the block, like, they kind of already fucked up the nominations. Ashley should be good. Things can change, but frenemies is done for sure. Here's the thing. We saw the frenemies being done for sure 2 weeks ago, and then Keanu wins HOH, and they're back for a couple days. We were all on the frenemies trade, and then it's gone again. Nothing's permanent with those two. Thank you, Ry-Tierney. Riddierney. However you pronounce it. Please let me know. Ashley, Vince, who is Morgan voting out? I think Morgan's keeping Vince. I think that's less interesting. I think Ava's the more interesting vote there. She's calling him dumb, and she's mad as hell. This was happening a couple weeks ago, too. Like, you got it right? Hell yeah. Problem is I did 2 pronunciations, so I don't know which one's right. Vince is now fully out with the judges, more or less. He made a terrible move last week. Yeah. No, I'm critical of Vince's game, I think, more than Keanu's this week. Vince is a lot better than Keanu, but I think Vince's HOH was pretty crazy to me. It's like, dude, he just had to target Rachel. I don't know what he was doing. Imagine this week if he had targeted Rachel. I know it's hindsight bias because who could have thought Keanu would win HOH, but Keanu, Kelly, and Lauren are probably the 3 best competitors in the house. Morgan's probably right behind them, and she's also with you. Ryan Tierney. Gotcha. What's up, Ryan? Vince is an emotional, manipulating mastermind. It's bad, but it worked. I think mastermind and Vince should not be in the same sentence, but he is emotionally manipulative, which is good in the context of Big Brother, but I think it's just diminishing returns. Like, at this point, I don't think his shtick works as well as it has in the past. Godschley clocking the sexism. I can honestly say I never dissed. Ashley's a frustrating player to root for because she's been good for a while, but like she always just like flips a switch sometimes, and we're like, whoa, Ashley, what are you doing? But since the sides have been very established, she's been able to play like a simpler game, and she's been so fun to watch. Ashley's been one of my favorites, kind of consistently. After those first 2 weeks where I was like, okay, Ashley has no idea what she's doing, she's like stabilized in a very impressive way, I think. Hit on Mastermind, he's had 30 years of practice. I like that he started at 4, by your estimation. I believe it. My one friend joined our draft late, and Ashley went undrafted, so she has a team of 1, and she still might win. I find it difficult for Ashley to win the game, because again, I think she's just not respected very much, but same thing as Will. Like, very few people are respected, so, you know, she could win against one of them. And she could always get Will's vote, she could get Rachel's vote, she can get Mickey's vote maybe, but Mickey definitely looks down on her. She can get votes. You can get a few of them. How is my draft going? Who do I have? Let me pull it up. Because me and America did a draft at the start of the season. Let me look. Let's see. BB27 draft. Here it is. All right, let's see. Okay, so none of us have Rachel because this was done before the game started, so we didn't know Rachel was a confirmed like person on the cast. Go away. Okay. So America has Lauren, Keanu, Mickey, Kelly, Ava. And I have Ashley, Vince, Morgan, and Will. I think I like my draft more, right? I think my draft's better. Your team was ass. I mean, your team, I feel like we knew your team was ass as you picked it. Because Amy was a mess in the preseason. Ava seemed insane in the preseason. Riley, no one wanted. Adrian seemed insane in the preseason. And, you know, I thought your best picks, like Lauren I liked, Mickey I liked. Hope you lose, Vince. You could win this. I mean, Ava and Kelly just seem like... No, Ava, Kelly, and Mickey are cooked. I really think you're all in on Lauren and Keanu. I think Lauren is by far your best bet. You doing fantasy football this year? I gotta find a league. I should reach out to some Big Brother people. I just noticed you in the corner. Get away. Ava's making it to final 2? You think? I don't know, maybe. But I think I like my draft more. I just think Will is going to be there for a while. I think Morgan's got win equity for sure. Vince is tough, but I like Ashley too. Yeah, I think it's pretty close. Ren Davis, thank you for the 14 months. Ren, I see you in all these comment sections. You're going off. NFL starts this week. We are so back. I'm very excited. I am pumped. I love immersing myself in sports. It's so safe there. There's no weirdos. Well, there are a lot of weirdos, but I don't care about the sports weirdos. I hate those wires. Okay. It was better on the stool, to be honest. LDD. 3 months in advance. I hate when you guys do that. It puts so much pressure on me. I got to stream for the next 3 months. Yikes. But I'll do it. A lot of the bingo card happened too. Yeah, the bingo card, honestly, kind of a flop this year. I'll be honest. Kind of my fault. Thoughts on the Hugmance? I think it'd be hypocritical for me to start speculating on people's relationships. But in general, people who are being weird need to stop. Especially towards people who didn't sign up to be on the show. Especially to them. Just in general, though. Stop being weird and trying to make other people's life worse. I thought Taylor had a really, really good statement where she basically asked questions for asked for questions to ask, I think, Catherine in her exit interview. And she came out and was like, y'all are out here for blood. That is not the purpose of these interviews. Like, what is wrong with you guys, basically? Which I think was a really good, succinct way of kind of encapsulating some of the problems with all fandoms, but especially Big Brother. Just like, if you're invested to the point where, like, you just want these house guests to get exposed and the interviewers to grill them, and it's just like, if you're deriving like that much fulfillment from that, it's probably a problem. People really want gotcha interviews. I fucking hate it. It's also like a weird power dynamic where like the interviewer knows everything that happened and the interviewee knows nothing. And I just felt really bad for Kat. And I don't like a lot of the things Kat said about Rachel, frankly. Like that, there's a lot of it that I thought crossed a lot of lines. I don't support her and Riley's relationship. I thought that was very weird, but she's well within her rights to pursue anyone she wants. But the way Julie framed the question in her exit interview, being like, a lot of us had the impression that Riley liked you a lot more than you liked Riley. Is that true? Was extremely frustrating because it basically like made Catherine defend herself and be like, yeah, no, I actually did like Riley, because I think the implication there is Riley's a fan favorite, and everyone thinks I was, like, faking it, liking him, when obviously the truth is very different from that. So anyways, I just thought that question, and there's also the layer of that question of, like, CBS was trying to tell viewers, see, she likes him, see, which, again, was never the problem. No one said that. Well, some people did say that was the problem, of course. But, like, the problem always was Riley's behavior, not Catherine's emotions towards Riley's behavior. Right? Right? Shout out to Heisem. Thank you, Night Cheese, for the gifted sub to F off 0. That makes more sense than FOF 0, I think, right? Catherine does not owe us any of her feelings. Exactly. I agree. That Black Swan picture with Felicia, it is funny. I wonder how much production debriefed her before she did her exit interviews. I would imagine they debriefed her. Just knowing how much they did with Riley. They're not trying to send out Catherine to the wolves, right? Anywho, I'm going to be live for another, 5 minutes. This is just a short, pop in, talk about the veto meeting. I was trying to get on right before it came back. Was 2 minutes late, like always. FOF. F off 0. That makes more sense. Which 0 are you talking about? Because there's a couple of zeros that I think should F off. Smash Bros. 0. And 0 from Zero Escape. Maybe even 0 from Holes, but I like 0. Are you on update this Wednesday? No. I think I'm going to do a few more updates this season, but I don't think they'll be on Wednesdays. Just because it's just hard to find time. I don't want to go on and half-ass the feeds. I already answered that, Maddie. I'm not talking about that. I think people need to stop being weird, including you in this little spot. Cory, you played Zero Escape? Yes, I have, Joseph, and congratulations. Best pre-juror of all time. We debated it a bit at the start, but in general, I've talked about your game a lot. I think you know where I stand. I will say, easily you'd be the best strategic player on BB27. That wouldn't be close. Wild crossover. No, I love Zero Escape. I just replayed a Zero Time Dilemma. You're just a guy? No. That's Joseph Rodriguez. My man. Because that also applies to Joseph Rodriguez. You can't gaslight me, Joseph. I know it's you. I thought the house was primed for a fight, but looks like everyone is low energy. Yeah, Ava's napping, guys. So it's rough. Guys, see how good that second episode of Glee was on the rewatch? So funny. I was kind of skeptical of watching Glee because there's just like so many episodes, so many seasons. It's so funny. I think we'll stop when it gets bad though. Like I'm not trying to watch eight seasons of Glee. I wish the Big Brother editors need to show us somewhat of a realistic POV of what Riley was really like towards Catherine. Yes, but we don't expect that. Like they haven't done that in 20 years. They're not going to start doing it now. Like their priority is always going to be protecting themselves and the show to not get in trouble from their superiors. That's how everyone works. They're just trying to not get in trouble from their bosses. So like it's not excusing that behavior. It's the reality of the situation. On our season, our AFP was Cameron. Matt was top 3. Like this is just how it works. Jeff Schroeder. Like we have enough data at this point, which I think is one of my new sayings. We have enough data at this point, but we do. I saw a picture of Twitter of Rachel Berry in the Black Student Union Club. Rachel is so funny. Any final thoughts before I bid you all adieu to eat my cold tacos? America should have been America's favorite. She's my top 5 favorite BBUS players, and I can't understand why that's not everyone's feelings. I think it's hard to have that perspective just watching the show because the edit just wasn't there. But I think so many people online were able to, I don't know, personify with, but just like root for America because, first of all, unique archetype, but second, just like, I think she's extremely relatable to the fan base in a way that very few people are. But that's not going to translate to the episodes, unfortunately. But thanks for the kind words. Any compliment towards America is a compliment towards me as well. Were you a fan of America? It was definitely a slow burn. Yes, I was a fan of America. I was a fan of America. I mean, was I as big of a fan of America as Jared? I mean, that was my guy. That was my final 2, but America was pretty cool too. If Suri was not on, America would have been even more popular on socials. There would have been more of a united front rooting for America, for sure. I think we'd have less haters to this day if Suri was not on the season. Also, let me talk about something. I saw a single comment on Reddit. Don't ask how I saw it. Questions like that are outlawed. About me being like anti-Suri. I'm really not anti-Suri at all. I feel like I talk pretty glowingly about her game and everything. Maybe I'm a little bit negative when I'm like defending Bowie Jane specifically. But when I say Suri's had like 10 casts before us, it's not to say like, oh my god, she doesn't appreciate her Big Brother experience. It's like, yeah, if you do fucking 15 reality shows, obviously it's not going to feel like it's your first. And you're not going to treat that cast like it's their first. Like, that just makes sense, right? So that's the only thing. Like, I have literally no beef with Suri at all, right? And even if I did, Suri doesn't have any beef. Like, she's off on her 3rd show in a year. Like, she's busy. No one's talking about Suri on Big Brother anymore. She's on bigger and better things. So I just want to clear. I don't like discussion being out there of me not like if I don't like someone, go ahead and talk about it. There's a lot of people who I don't like. Suri's not one of them. Even Jared's not one of them. Like it's fine. I've got beef with a lot of people. Just make sure if you're talking about me having beef with people, make sure it's those people. I think that I'm going to say that's ban-worthy, but that is admittedly a funny comment. Let's look through your messages, actually. All right, so I'm going to let you guys into my decision making. So Ramon, I want you to defend yourself here. So what he said was, Suri will obliterate you, white boy. Ban-worthy or no? I'm on the fence, because it is a funny comment. It's not that serious. It's obviously quite toxic. Ban. We're going to do a poll. I'll let a poll decide. Ban Ramon, question mark? Yes or no, okay? Because I really could go either way on this one. Timeout? No, this is a either they're free to walk the streets of Twitch or they're going in the hole. No. Oh, wait. Okay, they said no. All right, Ramon, you live to see another day. You live to see another day. Now we're going to do a should I VIP Ramon poll. What did Johnny Moe do? I'm sure they deserved it. It's fine. What was the crime? Ramon for AFB. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been called a white boy. Ramon flipped the vote. It was impressive. No, it's, hey, look. Give him his tens. 72% said no. Now, mods, your job is to track down the people who voted no, because we got to ban all of them. No ops in chat. Absolutely not. Cory fans are so wholesome. I wouldn't go that far. I like a lot of our fans, but whoa. Wholesome? I don't know about that. Would you guys say you're wholesome? I got shooters. You got 51 of them somehow. I kind of wish a lot of the people who are like rooting for Suri and that side over me in America could just take the W that Suri lasted longer than us. Like, yeah, we got rid of her structure and some of her allies and stuff, but like, at the end of the day, if it's a Suri versus Cory, you could definitely argue she just won. She plays better. Just take the W, you know? Like, Quinions are wholesome. Quinions are quite wholesome. That's why I can never be one. That's why I could never be one. I don't belong. I have too much of an edge to me. You know what I mean? Suri did a great job of getting her own allies, too. You have to understand, though, like, the reason that's the case is because everyone was her allies. Like, who could she have targeted that weren't her allies? I guess Cameron, but they were allies. Cameron was obsessed with her. Would never target her. Like, I don't know. I think that's... I agree, but, you know, she had a lot of allies. I guess America was, like, the one person who was not. I still laugh at the RHAP folks who thought Quinn was acting for cameras on PB26. I thought that was so weird because that just told me that some of these people didn't watch the feeds because he was very consistent. Quinn is Quinn. Who would Suri put up if she got first or second HOH? Wow. What a question. What a question. So glad you asked it. Where do I begin? Week 1, I'm probably cooked. Me and Kirsten, maybe. Jacob's alt. And then week 2, obviously I wouldn't go up. Week 2 is probably, I don't know, America and like, I don't know. It's kind of hard. Maybe blue. Maybe America and blue, which would be kind of funny. You think Jared has your back week 1? Nominations were on day 3. Like at that point, there was nothing. Maybe by the end of the week, but I think you could still do your stream idea of going through Terran's BB25 updates. So here's the thing. I think it would do okay viewership-wise. It would just be so sad. Not in terms of the context of the game. It would just be so sad that I'm streaming myself listening to updates from 2 years ago. Like, I would feel bad for myself. Have you talked to Izzy since 25? Yeah. I texted her recently. Starting law school. She sent me a nice, how's law school text. We chatted back and forth. What do you think is the furthest you in America could go in placement 25? We could have gotten first and second if comps were different, but if you're saying, like, what's the best it could have been, yeah, we could have gotten first and second. There was a path. There's a narrow path, but yeah. You know, Jag goes out at the final 9. All of a sudden, every comp is up for grabs. America gets invisible HOH. Like, I don't know. There's always a world in Big Brother, unless you're truly terrible. Brittany did a BB12 rewatch in 2025. That's different. In 15 years, we could have this conversation if I'm still around. But I don't think it would be a very cool thing for me to do right now. No, we voted him out, Katie. We did that. And they legit have feeds on Ava napping. I'm looking at it right now. Cool glasses. Prettium ranked Jag 24 or 5. Who was 5? Was it Dick? I would have Jag like 21, 20. You have to understand, Jag's like, he's a very likable dude. He's very good socially. Add that to just being really good at comps. That's a really like high floor. The strategic game is a mixed bag, but there's a lot of winners who have very mixed bag strategic games. Do you think having comps like this season would have made a difference? Of course, yeah. Everything would be different, but I think a lot of those things would have helped like Matt out a lot. Suri, maybe me, but maybe not. I love Brendan's chat BCC post. I mean, look, he's just a great husband. That's exactly what you should do as a husband. Something to watch. I watch the Unknown Number doc on Netflix. It's crazy. Sure, I don't even know what it's about. Not every winner can be as strategic as Josh, exactly. Don't look into it going blind. Okay. I'm down. Where would you rate Rachel's BB13? I think right above Dick. Is it 13 was just a wonky season. I think her winning was one of my favorite winners. A very satisfying win. Like, I'm sorry, like Portia winning would have been lame as hell. I like Portia, and maybe you could argue she had a better game. Maybe. I don't even know if I would think that. But I think Rachel was the right winner there. Burning question. Who wins in a final two, America or Felicia? America. Yeah. America gets me, gets Cameron for sure. Suri, I think, even votes America at that point. Jags, obviously, a vote for America. Maybe Matt goes Felicia, but I think Blue leans America over Felicia. Bowie's obviously America too, so she locks in 4 with Jag, Cameron, me, and Bowie. But could she get more than that? Maybe. I think Blue's up for grabs, Suri's up for grabs, Matt's probably not. But again, how do we get there? What's the path to that final two? I don't know. America versus Bowie is a lot tougher. But then she could get Suri and Felicia. Suri, Felicia, me, Blue. She still wins. I think that's America's path. America versus Blue, I think, is the one where she is in a lot of trouble. Because then she loses Cameron and Matt. And Suri and Felicia. Like, that's not winnable, I don't think. All Bowie had to do is take out one of Jag or Matt in the second double. It's kind of hard to then envision how Matt gets evicted. I don't know. Maybe. Yes, that's what she should have done. But I think you could argue like that helps a lot of other people more than Bowie. Maybe Bowie's drawing dead at that point, but against Felicia, she could win. Maybe. Anyways, sorry, we're lost in the sauce. Cam votes Blue, 100%. Yeah, I think so. Anywho, I'm gonna get offline. Thanks guys for hanging out. A quick hour. I'll be live once or twice this week.